everyone, welcome to a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel video where we're going to be going over the decks that we will be playing for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel event. So the current Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel event is a 4 attribute event where we're playing with all the attributes that are not divine, light, or dark. So this is the first deck that I came up with, Marine Cess. But Marine Cess is always going to be one of the best decks in these limited formats. Just because putting up a body that's unaffected by card effects and being able to make all your entire field unaffected by monster effects if you want to via hand trap is so good in these events. The only issue with Marine Cess is that they take forever to get their boards up. So it's a little bit difficult to play with this deck. You have to really practice it and learn how to put these boards down. So the deck profile is right here. We won't be going into an in-depth profile with all these decks just due to time constraints, and there's multiple decks that I want to go over. But we're just going to go over the prominent cards and things that keep it the reason why this deck is really good in this event. So we have triple copies of Signet Mining, which is available via a structure deck, the Solomon Great structure deck. So this deck is pretty easy to craft. Most of these cards come straight from the master pack or straight from the secret pack with the Marine Cess, and you just craft all the extra SRs that you don't need. You can honestly replace these URs with other cards that you don't have. I run Lightning Storm, but you can run a Raigeki, Harvey's Feather Duster, Monster Reborn. I run 2 copies of Pile of Avarice just so I can get to my cards faster and recycle my Marine Cess cards, because sometimes you will get into the grind game, and this does help with the grind game because the deck does struggle killing your opponent. I run 2 copies of Wave just because this is the card that lets you negate your opponent's monster effect. If you have a Link 3 or higher monster, you can activate it from your hand. But this extra deck, cards of note, I run 2 copies of Great Bubble Reef because they can summon each other, which is pretty hilarious. 1 copy of Argonaut because this is a turn 1 card, and turn 1 she's amazing, the rest of the turn she's okay. 1 copy of Wonderheart. I never summon it, but like if you need to attack, if you need damage, this is one of the ways to get damage up pretty good. 1 copy of Coral Triangle lets you add a trap. I don't summon her often, but when she works, she works. And we have Crystal Heart. This is the card in combination with a field spell that makes your cards unaffected. I'm going to probably have a video up for all these decks, but Marine Cess, being able to get a link for up to 4,000 attack unaffected and negating effects is the name of the game, and you'll pretty much only really need 1 card to go off. The next deck in the event is Solomon Greats, or what I call Salad. So Sally Daddies, this deck is one of the structure decks. So you don't really have to go into much, and all the extra cards, honestly speaking, you don't really even need. Like I crafted 2 copies, or you don't need to craft any of this stuff. The only cards you really need to craft is 1 copy of Flash Mage, this Xyz monster, Bagusta, and Transcode Talker. The rest of the deck is pretty easy to get. So I run 1 copy of Dark Ruler No More. This deck really struggles with your opponent having a set board, so this card can get around it. You can run any other card like Raigeki, Kaiju if you really want to. And just the main goal of this deck is to go first and control your opponent. This deck does have going second potential, and you can OTK. It's okay at it without access code talker, however, but you can spit out a lot of damage with this deck even with all of this stuff. Solomon Greats is also a structure deck, so you can easily get all of these cards. So I will highly recommend Solomon Greats if you have 1,500 gems, or if you want to just get a different deck and try it out. Because this deck has a very unique mid-range playstyle that not that many current decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Have. Then the next deck that I have up here is my Umi deck. So this deck is currently just being stored, but Umi will be a very powerful deck in this, because honestly speaking, as soon as Ocean Dragon Lord's out, with Umi and a copy of Sea Stealth Attack, there's almost nothing that can get around this deck. You can kaiju them and stuff, but they can bring back their monster in the battle phase. That's good enough. And this deck actually can put a lot of damage. So personally speaking, I would definitely take out the Prohibition, because there's so many cards that can play in this event and just replace with Ash Blossom, or some type of, or another copy of Foolish Burial of Goods maybe, because this deck, I run Prohibition to counter Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom will still be in the event, but it's not as detrimental in this event, especially since you and your opponent will be playing with a very limited amount of cards. So the extra deck doesn't matter, it's mostly here, but you try to get Ocean Dragon Lore plus Electric Jellyfish, you kind of win. That's the whole point in the deck, and even if you're playing against another water deck, they can't get around Sea Stealth Attack. Sea Stealth Attack destroys any monster that battles a level 5 or higher water monster who's originally level 5. So even with Legendary Ocean bringing them down level 4, you still pretty much are in the chair, the captain's chair. Fluandaries was also going to be a pretty crazy deck. Even without Impin, you just increase the copies of Ryza, increase the copy of Apex Avian, and you increase the copies of any cards that can be normal summoned as a winged beast with a good effect. I can't think of any at the moment, but you certainly can run this in this event, and you definitely will have a great time. The extra deck is going to have to be edited, but like the extra deck for Fluandaries didn't even matter in the first place. So put anything you want in the extra deck. I'm not going to be running this deck in this event, but shout outs to Brigades, because you actually can run Brigades. Sure, your boss monsters down here, the Shurag, Omen, and Access Code Chakra will be removed, and your Zeus. But like honestly, the rest of the deck's live, and you can just run more into your Xyz plays, or go more into like weird links that you didn't really go into in the past. Like Sumor, you can run 1 or 2 copies of Sumor with Apex Avian. It's that easy with this deck. Even though I do not run Madolches, I do respect the straight raw power of this deck. This is not going to be, this isn't a competent deck, and you see there's a ban card, so it's more of a TCG deck. However, Madolche's ability to just crack people for 8,000 damage and to shuffle, non-targeting shuffle their cards back, definitely I will keep this deck on my radar in this event. And if you do have the entire deck, because this deck is very expensive, look at the SRs and URs. Like, you're going to need a lot of them to run this deck. But if you already have this deck, I would run this deck in this event. It seems like this deck will be a Madolche Turbo. This Madolche is so expensive that you're not going to run into a lot of them, but if you see it, just expect to lose. So yeah, this is the event. I'm going to be streaming this event live, so come by my Twitch and see it. I appreciate everyone for stopping by, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Goodbye.